going to show you how to make a CO2 reactor, and basically what that is a place for your CO2 to diffuse into your aquarium water, and it attaches to your filter tubing and your pressurized CO2 system, or DIY CO2 system. So let's get started. Really the only materials you'll need for this is clear PVC, preferably 1 inch in diameter. I have something different. I have like a T8 light bulb housing that I found at Home Depot. Works as well, but clear PVC is preferable for this. It's a little more durable. Then you'll need all the fittings that would adapt to your aquarium filter tubing. So basically mine is going to be a 1/2 inch inner diameter aquarium tubing, so I'd want a compression piece. I want to get this down to a compression piece that is a 1/2 inch suitable for compression tubing there. So what I would need is a few adapters. Now you can find all these at Lowe's or Home Depot, and here's one that's slip to threaded on the inside, and it would attach to the tubing just like that. Slip it on, and then there's a bushing here that goes. This is a 3/4 inch, so the the bushing here is 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch. And attach that on as well. So now I'm down from 1 inch to a 1/2 inch, and basically back to the compression piece there, and here it is. So aquarium water will flow in here and out the other end, so of course you'll need another fitting made the same way. And you don't want to dry fit any of this, of course, because you are dealing with water. You'll have a bunch of leaks. So to properly apply all this, you will need to Teflon all the threaded piece and apply epoxy to the slip piece here, and I'll show you that in a second. How to apply the Teflon tape. Basically, to find the way to apply the Teflon tape, you need to find where the thread starts. So here we see that my thread is going this way on the bushing part, and I'm going to apply the Teflon tape in the same direction. Basically, you get some Teflon tape. It's pretty simple. It doesn't take genius to do this. And then you apply it 3 times, preferably, or around 3 times. And that's it. And that's it. Basically, here you would have your nice piece ready to go. And if you would apply it the other way, once you screw this on, it would just unravel completely, making it useless. So you want to apply it to the bushing here, and hand tighten it as much as you can. If need be, you can always use a little wrench and get it just a little bit tighter. Whoever designed this wrench was a jackass, because it's a piece of shit. So yeah, so whatever. Just apply it as tight as you can, and use a wrench if need be. Then we're going to do the same thing to the compression fitting here, basically, and you want to have it as flat as possible. Mine's a little creased, but anyway. 1, 2, 3. Be a little more careful than I am. Even still, it's not that big of a deal. And tighten it all the way. I'll tighten it more with the wrench out of the video. So you would need to basically make 2 of these, and same thing with this one on the other end. And next we're going to apply the epoxy to the slip onto our clear PVC or clear tubing, so that it's watertight. Is epoxy the PVC to the slip pieces. And I have this like 2-part epoxy, very quick, 5-minute epoxy. If you have one that mixes like this, pretty much all epoxies mix, you want 1 part, well, just follow the directions of whatever they tell you. Mine's 1 part of each. Take it, mix it up, and then you have basically 5 minutes for it to dry. So that's ready to go. You take your clear PVC tubing and you get the other PVC and you attach it. You slip it on just a little bit like this, just to get it started. Take the other end, do the same. So mine fit very snugly, but they're still not watertight. So that's why we use the epoxy. So just like that. Now take the epoxy, get a little piece, and smother it on pretty generously onto the slip part here. The goal is to create a watertight seal, of course. Once that's all the way around, you can take your piece and push it all the way through. Now you're going to get a lot of excess squeezing out like this, but that's okay because we can go ahead and smother that as well. So you'll end up with a piece that looks like this. When it dries, you'll have a very nice hard epoxy finish. Do the same thing to the other end and you're good to go. Be careful once you do this because basically when you put the epoxy on, there's no turning back, so make sure you do it right the first time. Measure twice, cut once. So there's basically the reactor done. All we need to do is wait for the epoxy to dry. We're going to be drilling a hole to put the compression brass fitting in here, and that would be the end of the reactor. The epoxy has dried, and we're now going to be drilling a hole for the compression nut, the brass compression nut here. So basically you want to use either a 1/2-inch drill or a drill bit. I didn't have one, so we're going to be using a 1.5-inch spade bit, I believe they're called. And you want to get this correctly, pretty perpendicular to the PVC here, because we want our compression nut to be perpendicular. So if I put it here, give it a little tap to get it started, and take it slow. You don't want to strip this too much. And there is our hole for the compression nut. Gluing with epoxy our compression nut into this hole. Before you do that though, you want to make sure it fits. Basically get a nice dry fit in here. And what you want to do is run it through. You might need pliers, get a little more grip there. Run it through, make sure it sets perpendicularly to the PVC here when it's threaded all the way through. If you get it at an angle, it's not going to have a nice contact, and the epoxy, you're going to have to basically need a lot more epoxy. So that's pretty nice and perpendicular all the way around. I've got it dry fitted. Now we're going to apply the epoxy. Now it's important to note that when I unscrew this, I don't go all the way out, because there's no need to. It's already set, and you kind of created some threads into the PVC as it is. So what we're going to do is batch up another go of epoxy. And we're going to be taking the epoxy and applying it to the threads of the compression nut. Now it can droop like this, totally fine. You just need it all the way around, just like last time. If you get it all over like I am here, it's no big deal. This stuff will dry. Basically turns into plastic anyway. So you're good to go. Once you've got it all the way around, just like before, with the slips, with the slip to the clear PVC, you want to screw that in there as much as you can until it's in contact with the PVC. That's basically it. It completes our CO2 reactor. If you want, you can clean it up a bit. Mine's pretty messy because I've already done 3 of these. I don't really need another one. I just made this for demonstration, so it's not a big deal. You want to also, like I said, get as much as you can around here because you want a nice watertight seal to this. And there's your CO2 reactor. Very simple to do, cheap and effective. I think all the supplies cost me under $15. I think they were like around $12 total. So very, very cheap and effective. You can also buy one for $20 pre-made. I know they have some out there. There's also some more expensive ones, but in the aquarium hobby, for me at least, simple. The simpler the better. It's a previous one I've made before for my 80-gallon Planet Aquarium. The way it works is you have the inflow of your filter and the outflow. You want to connect the CO2 reactor to the outflow, and the way it works here is that your CO2 system will be pumped into the brass compression fitting here, and it'll deploy one to two bubbles, however many bubbles per second you have. It'll run up here, and because of the outflow, the force of the outflow here, it'll mix up all the CO2 bubbles there and result in 100% CO2 diffusion, and then the rest of it runs up back into the tank. Now you can also see that there's some pipe clamps I put here on the compression fitting and the filter tubing. That's just to ensure a much tighter seal. They're not necessary, but I'm very cautious with everything I do. I don't want water spilling out. Also, another thing to note is you want to get a check valve, basically to avoid any kind of backwash into the tubing here, if in case your CO2 system turns off or runs out, then you don't want this water siphoning back out. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate all your feedback. If you have any questions, comments, leave it in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer. You can send me an inbox, and feel free to subscribe or don't. I really don't care. Alright, thanks for watching.